There you go. All right, welcome everybody. Got a lot of new faces here. Good to see. Don't know most of you or many of you, but hopefully you guys will feel free to participate. And certainly this is an open forum. Ask questions. We'll talk about some of the struggles that we're having, some ideas. We're going to talk about, obviously, the topic is open houses today, and we're going to look at it in a couple different ways. We're going to look at it, one, from a philosophical point of view. Okay, getting behind the psychology of the open house, and then we're going to look at it from a tactical point of view in terms of the specific steps that we can make it more effective and get better results. We'll also talk about some verbiage and dialogue that we'll give you that we can discuss that hopefully will help you convert more, getting more leads and converting to appointments. And we'll talk about driving traffic. But the main thing I want to start off with is kind of get a perspective. Where's those handouts here? I need one for myself. Oh, here. Yeah. There we go. Just kind of get a perspective to start off here. And so one of the things that I always talk about is kind of where we are, okay, kind of level set a little bit. So we're basically a third into the year. I don't know, that might scare a few of you. It might be exciting for some of you, but I think it's more fearful for a lot of us because the year probably hasn't started out exactly how we were expecting it to be, hoping it would be, how we strategized at the beginning of the year. And then it's for a couple different reasons. Number one is you kind of have to take a look at the market. So we can blame the market, but not totally. And what I mean by blaming the market or looking at the market is we've had a significant market shift that you guys are all aware of last year in intensity. A lot of things have come into the market that you're aware of. Affordability has been challenged, interest rates, the economy, the job market, pricing, all of those things have affected the psychology of people entering the market. There's still a severe shortage of homes. There's still a demand for homes. There's still, a pent-up buyer demand out there. However, a lot of it has been put on pause for the various reasons that you guys all kind of know. But one of the things that we have to understand is all markets, all businesses go through different shifts. Okay, there's different cycles, whether it's seasonal, time of year, whether it's economical, the economy, excuse me, many different cycles that markets go through. Sometimes it's a personal cycle that you're going through that you're just not relevant to the market. Sometimes it's something that we can't control. Okay, the market slowed down. If the market is down, 35% industry-wide, chances are my business might be down a little bit as well. Okay, I don't have to buy into that. I don't have to subscribe to the fact that the market's down 35%. My business will be down 35%, but it should alert me to say, there's some things I might need to change in terms of my approach to the business and my approach to how I'm doing my business. And maybe I need to experience another level of growth. Okay, I need to change because what was working before is not working anymore. And, a lot of people are saying, you've got to get back to the basics. You got to get back to the basics. But you know what? A lot of us don't know what the basics are. Most of you in this room are fairly new, under 3, 4, 5 years. Okay, most of you. So you don't really know what the basics are because if you've been in it 1, 2, 3, 4 years, we really haven't practiced the basics that we're talking about that we practiced way back when. And so I don't know if that's the solution. And a lot of people say, I just got back to basics. I don't know if they are. So what I'm saying is instead of getting back to the basics, we need to get into offense. Okay, we need to have a strong offense because what got us here isn't necessarily what's going to get you there, is what we all know. And so one of the things that I want to look at, I want to ask you guys is how are your buyers experiencing today's market? Just give me a couple quick ones, a couple quick obvious ones. How are your buyers experiencing today's market?
Don't like the interest rate.
Don't like the interest rate. So what are they doing? They're waiting. They're on the fence. Okay. Anything else? How are buyers experiencing the market? What are they saying?
Not enough inventory.
Not enough inventory. Okay, so there's a little frustration out there because there's not enough inventory. So let's just take those two obvious things that we know about and say, okay, buyers are frustrated, interest rates, they're kind of on the fence, not enough inventory. So what do? Okay, do I wait it out? And I know a lot of us were kind of like in this suspended belief thing to whereas we go like, oh, we'll just wait it out because I've never experienced this before. It's bound to change. All right. I got news for you. is probably not going to change significantly or enough for me to catch up to where I was hoping to be after the first third of the year. Okay, I was hoping at the end of April, I'm just projecting end of April now. I was hoping at the end of April, I would have X, Y, and Z accomplished. I would have, so many closings, pendings, or whatever. And man, my business is off. And if you guys look at the chart in front of you, this here real quickly, this is produced by Josh Hall and his team. He showed it me yesterday. And it's nothing more than for me to emphasize kind of where we are. Now, real estate, as you know, and as you heard, is a seasonal business. Okay, there's different seasons throughout the year. And as you can see, there's a curve here on either chart here. There's a curve to where business picks up, listings pick up, sales pick up certain time of year, and then they drift off. Now, if you guys just look real quickly, go to pending, let's go to listings, okay, new listings. So you go to that bottom color there, which is the most current year, 2023, you can see listings are lagging severely behind where they have been in the last 4, 5, 6 years. Okay, that's a fact. Okay, turn it over, look at pendings, and you look at the bottom lines for pendings, 2023. Pendings are severely lagging behind where they have been the last 3, 4, 5 years. Okay, that's a fact, right? So I either have to say, oh, well, I'm just hoping it's going to catch up. But, if you look at the chart and the arc in the graphs, typically, if it's going to catch up, it would have caught up by now. Okay, April, if you would ask me last November, what's going to happen in the marketplace, I would have told you, oh shit, by March, April, we're going to have so many more listings on the market. Business is going to be picking up, this and that. Buyers are going to come back in the market. Rates are going to be below 6%. We're all going to be fat, dumb, and happy. And it's going to be great, great, great. Well, it ain't happening. All right. So I either have to decide that I'm going to wait it out and hope the market saves my year, or I have to regroup and say, okay, how do I strategize? What do I need to do to step in and have an offense, okay, and get on offense and get rid of the basic talk and get an offense, for the upcoming quarter, and will set me on a trajectory, my own personal trajectory for now till the end of the year. So it's up to me to figure that out. It's up to me to decide. Okay. So what you all agree on is probably have to change some things. I probably have to experience some growth in my business. Now, I've been talking to a lot of people lately from the beginning of the year till now when I sit one-on-one with you guys. And one of the questions I ask is, how has the change in the market affected your business? What has the change in the market revealed about the strength of your business, the strength of your ability, the strength of your results, the strength of your skills or whatever? And I'm kind of getting the same answer. I don't have a pipeline. I really should get back to my database. I'm not talking to enough people. I need to engage in more resources, to boost my business. So I'm getting, okay, I said, thank you for those honest answers. How big is the gap? Okay, how big is the gap? You're here, you want to be here. What do we need to grow into the level that we need to achieve based on the goals that you want to accomplish? And so I talk about, you guys in the back can't see this. I'll read it to you. I talk about what's called constraints to growth. These are the things that prevent us from growing. Okay, and so I try to identify with each person, what is it that's preventing our growth? What's constraining? What are the gaps and what's preventing us from moving forward and having that breakthrough that we need? So the constraints to growth typically are time. I don't have time. I don't have enough time. Okay, or I'm not spending my time in the most efficient manner, in the most efficient places. Skills. I need to maybe up my skills. What got me here, the skill level I had and the skill set I had before in the last few years, is different than the skill set I might need to have if I want to make this year my best year ever, or I want to get my business back up to where I need to. So whether you're new and you're starting, or whether you're experienced and you're like a little nervous about what's going on or apprehensive about what's going on in the future, maybe I need to up my skills. So we have to start looking inward, not the market, inward, and say, what skills do I need to acquire to be relevant in today's market? Or maybe I have it, but I just don't have the discipline. Am I really showing up to what I need to show up? Am I showing up to the job? Am I showing up to my profession? Am I showing up like a professional? Am I, showing up and pitching every day? Do I have a schedule, that is, wavering. I can't waver from it. So maybe it's my discipline. I need to up my discipline. Or is it my mindset, my strategy? Am I all up in my head? Am I all up in my head and saying, oh man, what's the point? It's all gonna suck. I'm just riding out and see what happens and hopefully I'll survive. Where is my mindset in regard to the business? And with that comes, what strategy do I need to employ, to get everything back on track where I need it to be? Or constraint to growth. Maybe I don't have enough sources of revenue. Okay, maybe I don't have enough sources of revenue. Maybe I'm not doing or making the right choices that will get me in front of the amount of business that I need to, or help me grow my business in the way I want to. And maybe I need to look at some different sources of revenue. We'll get into that in a minute. So it's really a function of my pipeline is probably what we come down to. My pipeline is probably smaller than I need it to be, or it's always been. My listing pipeline, the buyer pipeline I have is I've got a bunch of buyers, they're all waiting. I got a bunch of people, that I thought were gonna list, but you know what, rates are 6%. They don't want to get out of their 3 into the 6. You know the story I'm talking about. So I understand that there's a lot of us that have a great pipeline, but I can't get complacent and say, that's what's going to get me through the market. I have to step into offense. And I have to start doubling down. I have to start over communicating. I have to start stepping into a higher level of commitment and action to counteract all the things like what you say. Buyers are nervous, they're researching, they're on the fence, not enough listings. That's just what it is. Okay, I got to figure out a way around it. Okay, and that's kind of what we're talking about today in essence. So as you can see, the trajectory for the rest of the year is probably not going to save us. So we need to figure out how we're going to do that ourselves. Okay. Let me just kind of ask you guys a few questions in terms of, get a piece of scratch paper here, over here. So let me ask you guys, we're talking about open houses today. So what do you guys want to accomplish today relative to open houses? Tell me what's not working. Okay, that maybe you're looking for a solution or a hint or some sort of technique or whatever. So just tell me what's not working, Jill.
I think that when I host open houses, I meet a lot of people, but it's converting them to buyers. Get a lot of ideas that people may be wanting to buy, and then I reach out to them after the open house, and sometimes I don't hear back from them.
Okay, so conversion, write down conversion. Okay, I'm gonna tell you something right now. You said when you reach out to them, what happens?
I don't hear back.
Okay, does that happen to anybody else?
Yeah.
Of course it does. Why should you? Why should they return your call? So what I'm saying is, and I'll encapsulate this at the end, don't ever call anybody back. Okay, so just keep that hanging, and I'm gonna say, don't ever call anybody back. All right, so keep that hanging, and we'll talk about that at the end. What else? What else is not working? Come on. Names and numbers, traffic, motivation. Everyone's working with agents. Nobody has a job. Neighbors are nosy.
I hear a lot of, I don't know how to pre-market the open house.
That's right.
Say that one more time.
So I hear a lot of, I don't know how to pre-market the open house,
Okay,
Get buyers in
put
there.
that down. Driving traffic.
driving traffic.
Okay, all right. What else? People want to use the bathroom, walking their dog. What? What's not working?
Basically, when you're talking to them, I think you said it once, like, everyone's always working with an agent.
Mhm.
And I mean, it could be true, but I feel like some people also are like, I don't want to get sold to anything.
100%.
So they say that just because,
Mhm.
and communicating that to hopefully get them it.
Okay, you wrote that down. We'll talk, yeah, we'll talk about that. We talk about tactical. Registry, okay? People signing in?
Mhm.
Oh, registry,
I
yeah.
don't want to.
Euros with another agent, yeah. Anything else come to mind? Come on. All right. So we're gonna talk about that a little bit. We'll get to that. We talked about tactical. Colin,
How do I convert the nosy neighbor to a seller?
how do you convert the nosy neighbor to a seller? Perfect. We'll talk about that too. We're gonna talk about that.
But you do when there are too many people in the house, you can't do that.
Okay, too many people at open house.
That's a good thing to have.
It's a good thing that you. hard
It's
to-
not sometimes. Sometimes you have 40 people, right? You can't talk to anybody. That's, I mean, that's, you never know. You can't predict. Or they all come at one time. You know, you have 5 people total and they all come at the same time. Did you have something? No? Okay, let's keep moving on. All right, so one of the things that we need to look at is understanding what an open house is. An open house is something that happens within a certain period of time. Let's pretend it's 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock, okay? That's really not what this class is about. Okay, what happens? It's about the bigger picture and say, how do I incorporate this business development activity, okay, into my routine? How do I address it on a daily basis? Okay, so it's bringing me much more than what happens just between 1 and 4 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon. So who agrees that real estate is a prospecting activity? If you don't like the word prospecting, which not a lot of us do, call it a business development activity. Who agrees that real estate is about business development? You guys are all in business yourself. You own your own business. It all belongs to you. So it's up to you every day to kind of show up and say, okay, what's my mindset about building a business? What's my strategy about building my business? And we can go through all of these things as well. So it's a prospecting activity or business development activity, but what a business development activity really is just engagement. It's just a euphemism for engagement. Connect with people, talk with people, be with people. Okay, that's all it is. So real estate is an engagement activity, just as open houses are engagement activity. And if you think about your last transaction or your most recent transaction that you had, it was a result of some recent engagement. You talked to somebody, you called somebody, you met somebody, you followed up with somebody, right? You presented to somebody. Every transaction you've had recently is a result of a recent engagement. Very rarely do we, do a deal with someone we haven't talked to in 5 years. Once in a while it comes up, but again, there was probably some connection somewhere that, so you understand that when we're talking about open houses and engagement activity, I need to start doubling down and understanding the power of compounding. So the question I have is rhetorical question. What is better, showing 1 home to 10 people or showing 10 people 1 home? 1 home to 10 people, right? Yeah, got it? Okay, very rhetorical question. And again, you guys will all agree on that. So you're definitely in the right place. And so again, as we're looking at offense, and I need to have an offense in regard to my approach to the business, I need to understand this is the way I'm going to scale my activities. It's the easiest way for me to scale my business, scale my activities, and it's the easiest way to front load my business as well. In other words, my business is built on or determined upon or predictable because of the pipeline that I have. So I oftentimes will ask you, what do you guys have in the pipeline? How many buyers ready to go? How many sellers ready to go? What are you working on? Who's in play, who's in your car, who you showing, who you getting pre-approved, who you're following up with, and all of those type of things. So this is an opportunity. If I can show, 1 home to 10 people, I got to focus on those 10 and say, look, I can build my pipeline pretty quickly if I start engaging in this activity that's called open houses and connecting with so many more people, in a very short amount of time. So some of you are looking at, and especially the new people, and some of us that want to get back on track. Some of you in the back of your mind is like, I need to know what the quickest way to a deal is because I need to pay the bills. Okay, so I have to ask myself every day, what's the quickest way for me to a deal? And it's about what? It's engagement more than anything else. So open houses are the quickest way, the easiest way, the shortest distance to a deal or to meeting people than anything else I can think of in this business. You could think of something else, let me know. So what happens is open houses is your primary, your greatest economic development activity or business development activity that you can employ in your business today. By far. It's the greatest economic development activity you can employ in your business today. And as we go through that, hopefully the light bulbs will start going on. So what I said earlier, there's a philosophical approach and a tactical approach to the business. And you're only going to do that if you buy into both. And what I mean by that is looking at open houses from a philosophical approach means it's going to give you a new perspective. Okay, it's going to change your mindset. And all of a sudden you're going to start saying, okay, this kind of fits in to the philosophy I have or the approach I have for my business. And I can strategize this and I can create my own seasonality to my business, knowing that if I do something today, 30 days from now, I'll have a result. 60 days from now, I'll have a result. 6 months from now, I'll have a result. Okay, from this point forward, if I do that, okay. So the philosophical aspect of the business means if I do this, what do I get? So you have to kind of psychologically sell yourself and say, okay, if I do this and I do it well, what do I get? More leads, more clients, more appointments, more buyer activity, more seller activity. And if I have that, if I do all that, more money, more fun, better life, you know, debt-free, investment, all of that kind of stuff that you have to really say, okay, what is it? Why do I do what I do? Otherwise, you're just doing shit to do shit and it doesn't make sense. All right. So I have to really connect the two. Now that's the philosophical is if I do this, I'm going to get the result. Excuse me. The tactical is actually doing the thing. Actually stepping in and doing the thing. And that's oftentimes where the disconnect is with us. We're just not doing the thing. Or we're not doing it effectively. Or it's an afterthought. It's not a high priority. We need to now move this to the highest priority. If this is the greatest economic development activity that I can engage in, it has to be a high priority. I have to be thinking about it every day. If I'm not thinking about this business development activity, I better have something else equally as good or better, okay? But unless you have a strong philosophical approach, you're never going to follow through on the tactical. And the reason most of us don't have consistency in these type of activities, whatever you do, because we haven't really connected the dots and understanding if I do this, I get this. A lot of us are very impatient and don't allow the cycles of growth to work, don't allow the cycles of the accumulation effect to work for us. We don't give it a chance. But intellectually we know it, but for some reason there's a disconnect between the philosophical, what I want to get accomplished, and actually me doing it. Okay, so we have to make sure that we're getting started in the right direction. So taking a look at, you know, real estate as a whole, and this is one of the beauties of real estate, there's no one way to do real estate. There's many, many different ways to do real estate. However, some are more effective than others. Some are much more effective than others. And I have to make sure that if I want to achieve a result and I want to get on offense here, I have to start majoring in the majors and put aside some of the things that probably are not going to get me there in the time that I want to. So everything makes sense. So pull out your sheet that has the 33 sources of business. This is just something I copied from Tom Ferry, 33 sources of business. Many of you guys have seen it before. So we recognize there's 33 sources of how business. Remember I talked about constraints to growth? I don't have enough sources of revenue, or I don't have relative sources of revenue. Number 5 here. So you kind of say, okay, here's 33 sources of revenue. Now, some have more impact than others. And one of the things that I understand is there's an abundance in real estate. There's no one way to do real estate. There's no wrong way to do real estate. There's so many different options for me to do real estate. I just have to now take ownership of the choices that I make. Every day I wake up, every morning I wake up and I have choices. That's the beauty of this business, but it's also what kills people in this business as well. I can wake up and make choices that are either going to enhance and cause my business to flourish, okay? Or I can wake up every day and make choices that'll be toxic to my business. There's no in between. So I have to start making smarter choices now in terms of if I want to get on offense you know, and I want to change the trajectory of my business, because I ain't gonna change the trajectory of the market, change the trajectory of my business, I have to make some better choices. So now let's take a look at these choices here. So according to NAR, the top source of income for real estate agents, successful real estate agents, is what's up the top, is past clients into the right sphere of influence. Refer and repeat relationships, past client. That's the number one source of business. That's the absolute best source of business. Okay, got it? Here's the problem. I don't have any past clients. I don't have enough past clients. I don't have anybody, all my friends are in college. They can't buy a house, you know? Or in my case, all my friends are dead. They can't buy a house. No, I'm just kidding. But you know what I'm saying? I don't have the sphere of influence. I don't have the years in the business to build that book of business or whatever. So I go like, okay, so I need to change my choices, or I might have 20 people in my sphere of influence. It's not enough. All right. So I need to say, okay, I need to make better choices. What's next? Number two source of business in according to NAR is open houses. It's open houses. Plain and simple. Number three is geographical farming. That's another class. Don't worry about that. And they're pretty close between the two. But the one that's most immediate, to where you can get immediate result, kind of put your, you know, put your effort in and get some sort of feedback, good, bad, in between, whatever result, is open houses. So that's something that you can implement pretty quickly. So I always marvel at people that get in the business, don't have enough book of business, sphere of influence, and they want to do the newest, latest, greatest fad. Okay, I'm going to be the social media guru. I'm going to work attorneys, and I don't even know any, and I have no experience. I'm going to work the land, and I don't have any experience or contacts, or whatever it is. I got to start majoring in the majors before I start looking at other sources of business. And the way I decide that is I look at each one and I ask myself, what's the total addressable market for these things? And then I need to look at and say, what's the total available market for these things? So let me explain what I mean. The total addressable market is, if I choose this avenue, what's the potential of what I can get? So if I do, if I do geographical farming, take an example, what's the total addressable market? Well, theoretically, it's the whole state of Washington. I could farm the whole state of Washington. All right, that's a total addressable market. However, we also have to look at what's the total available market. What's the realistic result I can get, and what's available to me to leverage that to get a result, which means I probably have to find the right neighborhood, the right price point, where I know the schools and the amenities and all those things. So I have to look at what the total available market, and that's the revenue opportunity from it. So if I want to send out 100,000 mailers tomorrow, certainly can do it, but the revenue opportunity would be probably zero. But if I took a geographical location like a farm and sent out, maybe there's 350 people there, and I sent out mailers every month, okay, there's probably a revenue opportunity in there for me at some point in time. You understand what I'm saying? So I have to really evaluate these choices, but I'm going to give you the shortcut. It's open houses, guys. It's sphere of influence data and past clients and basically open houses. So the reason, and the other way I need to choose, I need to focus on the end result. What is it I want to accomplish? What's going to give me the best bang for the buck, the most immediate bang for the buck, and the budget? How do I get in the business quick? Okay, so I have to start with the end in mind. So whenever you make a choice of what you're going to do in business or what you're going to do in real estate, you have to say, okay, what's the end result that I'm hoping to accomplish, and work backwards. Say, does this decision, does that support the end result and the goal that I want to accomplish? And oftentimes it doesn't. I want more business, I want more buyers. So why are we sending mailers to, all over the country, type of a thing? So I have to focus on the end result and make the best choices. There's high impact activities and there's low impact activities. What we're talking about today is what are the highest impact activities available to you and with ease, okay? So it's speed to a deal. Now, if I want to accelerate, one of the problems I have, if I want to accelerate my results, I have to say, well, you know what? I'm meeting a lot of people, but I'm not necessarily meeting the right people. But what you have to understand is, before you can meet the right people, the ones who want to buy, the ones who aren't affected by the interest rate, the ones who aren't up in their head or whatever, and all of that. I need quantity. So if I want quality leads, quality buyers, quality sellers, quality business, I have to go for quantity. So if I don't have a pipeline with a lot of quantity, excuse me, a lot of quality in it, do I settle? Or do I need to get into a proactive mode, get on offense and start going and exposing myself to more opportunities to find the few people that can help me achieve my goal or help me reach my, the result that I'm looking for. Does that make sense? Okay, if you want quality, you have to have quantity. You're not kissing enough frogs. You're not meeting enough people. You're not having coffee with enough people. You're not having enough conversations. You're not engaging with enough people. Okay. And it really doesn't matter. A lot of it is not a matter of even skill. It's just a matter of doing it. If you expose yourself to the majority of more and more people, you'll find the people that are more like you, have the right, are in alignment with you, and that you can connect with and are willing to work with you. So we really have to understand the quickest way for me to get in the game is to major in the major activities. Don't do 33 things. There's not 33 things to do here. And we have to go big, we have to go large, we have to go aggressive, and we have to pull out we have to change our mindset, okay, in order to kind of get that breakthrough that will produce breakthrough results for us. Make sense? Cool. I know that. Okay. So let's start narrowing this down a little bit. Let's talk about buyers and buyer psychology for a moment. Let's talk about how buyers shop. Okay, how do buyers shop for a home? If you were looking for a home and you're a buyer out there, what's the first thing you're gonna do?
Look online.
You're gonna look online, okay? So what happens is 100% of buyers look online for homes. Simple as that, just assume it. 100% of you guys are online looking for homes for your buyers. So online is the first stop that everybody goes into or engages in to start the home buying process. So we can say 100% of buyers start the process on their own. That's called the investigative stage. So buyers are in the investigative stage when they're home on their computer looking for homes. And where do they typically go to look for homes?
Zillow, Redfin.
Zillow. Yeah, let's go to Zillow.
Redfin.
So yesterday I ran Zillow stats. So Zillow has 307 million visitors a month right now. 307 million visitors a month. Everybody goes to Zillow. No big deal. That's the first step. Okay. And so what happens is, how long do they spend shopping for homes online? Statistics will show you that, or online aggregates show you, including Zillow, will tell you that buyers spend an average of 6 to 18 months online before they enter the buying process. You know, it's kind of a fleeting dream. It's like, maybe someday, honey, let's look at some houses. Everybody's nosy, you know, that type of thing. Wait till we graduate, wait till we get the job, wait till we qualify, wait till our lease is up and all that. But people spend a long time, from 6 to 18 months online looking for homes, okay? And so, which is fine. That's called the investigative stage, or the research phase, if you will. And so what the next step typically, which most buyers do, is once they start getting more motivated or moving along in the process, the next thing they typically do is, if they don't already know an agent, okay, which most don't, the next thing they do is they tend to drive the areas they want to live. They have all the information. The next thing to do is, let's check out the neighborhood, let's check out the schools, let's check how far and how close and how near it is to this, that, whatever, or how kind of it looks, you know, or access and that type of things. So they drive the areas, and typically, what are they looking for when they drive the areas? Looking for signs, seeing what's available, what's open, you know, and so what happens is they see and encounter a sign, an open house, or sometimes it's a for sale sign, and they step into an open house. So the people that step into the open house are people that have been researching a long time. You know what? Most of them know the area, have done some research, like the area somewhat, kind of know the price of the home for the most part. Okay, they know what it has for the most part. And so they're there with intention of checking it out and evaluating it for whatever purpose, okay, that they have. That's when we meet them. Okay, so we encounter the people who are now in the intent stage, moving out of the investigative stage. So they've now stepped into our arena. So if you guys want to connect quickly with people who are stepping into the arena, you have to play your game in the arena where the game is being played. And that's out in the streets, that's in open houses. Okay, without a doubt, that's the number one place where you're going to step into the arena where the game's being played. So if I'm not in the arena and I'm sitting on the sideline, it's not going to happen. But we need to get aggressive. We need to kind of get out of our own mindset here and say, wait a minute, I need to spend maybe more time, constraint to growth, maybe more time doing those types of activities, getting in front of people than I'm spending right now. And the result will totally be different. Okay, so that's when we're encountering these people. Now, who goes to open houses? Okay, let's see, who goes to open houses? Well, we pick up buyers, we pick up potential sellers, we pick up people that maybe are neither at this point in time, but they're there for a reason and they're looking for information or education or whatever. And maybe it's something that is going to happen down the road. We pick up people that we can nurture and include into our database. So everybody that walks into open house is either a buyer, seller, or a database. Somebody goes to my database. And I know a lot of us need to build up our database. We don't have a large enough database. I need to engage with people, whether it's socially, whether it's networking, whether it's in the field, whether games being played, talk about real estate or whatever, and start understanding that my business development activity is geared towards quantity to find buyers, sellers, or to engage and build my database. And I'll give you an example of that in just a moment. So those are the people that I'm typically looking for. Who else shows up at open houses? You know who else shows up to open houses? No, who else shows up at open houses? I like this one. Are all the people that you guys are sending to my open house. All the realtors who have buyers who are motivated, buyers who are pre-approved, buyers who want to buy a house. These realtors are emailing them listings and directing them to come to the competition's open house. How smart is that? That's smart. So I got this buyer, right, that I'm working with, and I'm going to send him over to this guy's open house. Yeah, he says, yeah, it's not very smart. So let me ask you guys, how many of you guys are emailing listings to buyers? Quit it right now. There's no point. They already have the listings. They're on Zillow. Zillow, they know more about that listing than you do because they're on it more than you are. Okay, so mailing listings to a buyer, there is no value proposition. In fact, it takes you out of the equation. I don't need you anymore because I'm getting a bunch of shit I already have. So what do I need you for? No value. Why would I call you back? No reason to. You already gave me the keys, right? I'm already there. Why would I call you back? So mailing listings to new buyers is ridiculous. It does not make sense. It diminishes your value to them, and it puts you in with every other realtor that they've met at the other 15 open houses that they went to. That's it. There's no real. So why is it, how do I create separation? Okay, and we'll talk about that later. Okay, so I just want to give you an idea here. So, okay, so back to who we're meeting at open houses. Agents are sending pre-approved, motivated buyers to you. Okay, love it. Okay, they can do that all day long as far as I'm concerned. Neighbors. Okay, neighbors come to open houses too. Any downside to that? Okay, so we'll get to your point in a minute in terms of how to handle that and how to engage neighbors and how to enroll them, because neighbors are also potential sellers, database, okay, people gotta connect with, people that know other people. NAR said everybody knows 4 people that are either gonna buy or sell a home this year. They might not know them today, but you're gonna encounter somebody at work, a relative, a friend, a neighbor, somebody you're gonna know that wants to buy a vacation home, an investment home, or whatever. Everybody's gonna encounter at least 4 people a year that are gonna buy or sell a home. So the more people I can talk to, obviously the more opportunity to get lucky. With quantity comes quality, okay, which equals luck, essentially. So what happens is, if I can control that environment where if all these people are coming to me, does it make does it make me get a sense of predictability for my business? Can I now start scaling my business and saying, if I do more of X, I'll get more of X? Absolutely. Because now who's in control? I'm in control. It ain't the market, it's not interest rates, it's not all that stuff. I'm definitely in control. The other thing that I'm doing is, of course, I'm filling my funnel, I'm filling my pipeline. And I'm filling my pipeline with, here's the key. I'm filling my pipeline with the right leads. I'm filling my pipeline with the right people. What I mean by that is, you sometimes get discouraged because all the buyers you have are not really very motivated. They're not really, can't make up their mind. They're barely qualified. They need all kinds of assistance and, from the lender and all this stuff or whatever. This gives me an opportunity to build what I call my buyer box, to choose the type of people that I want to work with. This is new to some of you people. You don't have to settle. The worst thing that I encounter is when I meet many of, especially you new people, you want to get in the game, and I get it. So all of a sudden you're going to meet somebody and you're in the renting office and they want to buy a 1-bedroom condo in Everett. Okay, and they can't go over $175,000. And you're gonna go like, shit, I got a buyer, I'm going to Everett tomorrow. Okay, and then the next day they decide, well, you know what? I talked to my parents, I said, Olympia's better. Oh, I guess I gotta go to Olympia, whatever. And by the way, I need $3,000 closing cost. I mean, you're running all over because you have, you don't have the type of buyer that really you can get to the finish line or want to get to the finish line or even want to work with, you see. So sometimes we end up settling for lack of having someone better or something better to work on. This is totally opposite fact. You now have the ability to pick and choose. So what you have to do, and this is an exercise I go through with some of you guys, is you have the opportunity to choose your ideal client. Okay, so what happens is, remember, we start with the end in mind before we make choices. So I need to manifest who my ideal client is. Who is my ideal buyer? Realistically, knowing what I know about the market and the economy and everything else, who is my ideal buyer? So my ideal buyer, if you can manifest your ideal buyer that you want to work with, what price point are they? 700 to 900, let's say. That's kind of the belly of the market where there is some inventory and homes are selling, people can qualify and people can afford it. Okay. What area is my ideal buyer? There's my buyer box. There's what price point? What area is my buyer? Okay. Okay, if let's say you're located around here, my buyer is from South King County. Okay, south of Seattle, north of Pierce County, whatever. What type of property are you looking for? Okay, they're not looking for 32 acres with 6 barns or whatever. They're looking for a nice area that's, stable, growing, all that, maybe newer type houses or whatever that have less work orders. So what location is my ideal buyer? Okay, what about the buyer's makeup? Okay, they're pre-approved. Is my ideal buyer somebody who will call me back when I leave a message? Is my ideal buyer someone who wants to make an appointment with me and wants to work with me exclusively and maybe sign a buyer agency agreement? Is my ideal buyer somebody who is already underwritten by the lender? Is my ideal buyer understanding the market and willing to do what it takes to get a home in this market? In other words, pay above full price maybe if you need to and compete on an escalation, possibly? Is my ideal buyer fun to work with? Do I like them? Do they like me? Is my ideal buyer the type of buyer that's going to give me lots and lots of referrals over the next however many years I'm in the business and appreciates what I do for them? Okay, kind of sounds pie in the sky. Wouldn't that be cool to get a buyer like that? You can do that exercise with a seller. Here's the question. I can move towards finding that buyer if I have enough quantity. I don't have to settle for what I have. I can get more on offense, okay, and start creating an environment that's conducive and make the right choices that's conducive to me getting that type of result or getting that type of buyer. And if I don't have those kind of buyers, I have the other one that I just gave you an example, I need to make a decision. I need to step in and get more proactive and find more of the people that I'm looking for. Therefore, I have to make choices that are in alignment with what my standards are of what I'm willing to accept with a buyer or a seller. Okay? Maybe that buyer's got a home to sell too. He's a potential seller. Perfect. I'm going to find him when I get in front of enough people. And that's where open houses also can come into effect. So I'm filling my pipeline with the right leads. What if I've been in the business for a while and for some reason I got stuck selling a bunch of low-end properties mobile homes, small condos, this, that, whatever, and I'm going like, I'm working my ass off, and here's these other guys selling these high-end houses, making a ton of money. Same work, same time, same energy, same marketplace. I can up not only the type of buyer, but I can also increase the price point if I want. So quit sitting condos for 300,000, start sitting single-family homes for 800,000. And guess what? You're gonna get better quality buyers. You're gonna get higher sales prices, which means the same time and energy and effort you're putting into it, you're gonna make 2 or 3 times the amount of money. So I can up my price point if my price point's too low. And that's something that a lot of people don't really think about, and they just take whatever comes their way. And you're going like, you know what, I do have choices here. I just have to make conscious choices. I just can't be passive and whatever comes my way, I take. I have to insert myself and be more proactive in my strategy. So again, understanding that those are the type of people that I can engage in when I'm doing open houses. That's the basis of growth in my business. Now, the people that come into my open house,
Don't call them back.
don't call them back. Okay, that's later. Don't remind me, I'll tell you what I'm talking about there. I'm just keeping you in suspense. Okay. 90% making up the story here, but 90% I'm probably accurate or more, don't buy the open house that they come into. They don't walk in and go, oh my God, I'm gonna buy it. Can I write it up with you right now? Okay. Granted, we would love that to happen. We prepare for it. We certainly, do it. But understanding that this is an activity that just is engagement, it's conversations, it's connection, it's demonstrating relevance, it's demonstrating professionalism, it's demonstrating competence to that person. Because I know 90% of the time you walk in an open house, you ain't gonna buy it. I'm not gonna tell them that. I'm gonna act as if I'm gonna do what I need to do, but also know in the back of my head, I need to make some sort of impression on this person, because chances are they're not gonna buy this house. But chances are, if I make a good enough impression on these people, they're gonna wanna work with me. Okay? So, like I said, your conversion will increase because these people have already experienced, they know the house before they come out. So let me ask you a question here. What are buyers looking for when they come to an open house? An agent. An agent? What are buyers looking for? Ideas, education, or whatever.
More information on the market?
More information on the market. Perfect. You got it right. They're looking for an agent. They don't know it at that point in time. Okay. But what they're looking for is an agent. All the other stuff is good. I mean, it's fine. You're getting an education. So none of you are wrong in that. But ultimately, they're looking for an agent. Now, why do I say that? Because when they're coming in, not only are they evaluating the house, they're evaluating you. Because at some point in time, they're going to make a decision on who they're going to work with and who they're going to trust for them to sell a house, to help them buy a house. Sooner or later, they're going to make a decision. So the question is, how do they make that decision? Is it luck? Is it timing? Okay. Or what is it? How do buyers pick an agent? So here's the deal. A lot of you, it's just, a lot of you probably don't realize it. So buyers go to open houses. Okay. We know that's the intent stage. And what happens is they go to all kinds of open houses. They do their research. They get educated, on the area the house is pricing or whatever. And so over a series of time, whatever that is, it could be 6 weeks or 6 months, they go to all these open houses and they meet us. They meet agents. At some point in time, when they get to that next level of motivation and need to step into the process a little bit deeper, who are they going to end up landing with? It's going to be somebody that they met at an open house. So a lot of it depends on how you interact or how you connect with that person, or how you, or the impression you made on that person will determine who they end up working with. So granted, they may not end up working with you right that day, immediately, but there's something that you can do, or many things that you can do to demonstrate the ability to help get them to the finish line more so, or stand out more so than your competition. So I have to start measuring and say, okay, what's my value proposition? But before we go there, if it's a prospecting activity, if buyers are shopping open houses and, you know, with quantity, I mean quality and all of that. So the question I have for you guys, if that's the best economic development activity, or I mean buyers, sellers, database, neighbors, all that stuff, nurture and all that kind of stuff, how often should I be doing an open house? What's that, Christian?
Say it again. Every day.
As many as possible. Yeah, good question. He said every day because he knew that's what I was gonna want him to say. But yeah, as many as possible. So what's possible? Let's get out of the box. Let's get a new mindset. Let's get a new strategy. Let's get on offense. And you know, you go to training, the corporate training, or read books or whatever, they go like, do an open house and none of that, whatever. Screw that, throw the rule book out. This is my business. This is my engagement. Where do you think I'm gonna get a better result? Sitting in the office, playing cornhole over here. Okay, see, I'm giving you some crap. Or out in the field with 6 or 8 A boards on that same day. What do you think the end result of that's gonna be? Maybe I'm gonna meet some neighbors, maybe some people come in, I put it online, I'll get some buyers, this, that, whatever. I mean, again, I have to start a new routine and understand engagement is my game. Engagement is my game, and I have to major in it. So I have to say, as many as it takes is a good answer, whatever that is for you. Okay, I can't tell you what that is. Depends on what the result is you want to get. Is today a good day to do an open house? Could be. Do people look online? So 307 visits to Zillow, okay, in a month. Does that mean people are looking online every freaking day?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're looking online many times a day. On their lunch break, during work, everywhere. They're looking all the time. So open housing, or the pursuit of buying a house or finding a house, is not a weekend deal for buyers. It's a daily event for buyers. They're engaged all the time. So if that's the key, now most people are available on the weekends. I get that, but not anymore. People are mobile, people work from home, people have different schedules or whatever. So if searching for a home is a daily activity, why shouldn't looking at homes be more of a daily activity? Yeah, we have to change our mindset, and we have to change our strategy. Okay, otherwise we're constrained, you know, we're constraining our growth. Okay, so as many as possible. The example Tom Ferry always uses, he goes like, let's say you own a gas station and you're only open 1 day a week. How would your business be? You got it, okay? I mean, it's home, that makes sense. Okay, all right, let's keep moving here. So let me show you. Let's do a little bit of writing here. Let me show you kind of how this lays out. So now we're gonna get more towards the tactical. We talked about the philosophical, the why, if I do this, then what? Now let's start moving towards the tactical aspect of it. What am I looking at? 420 on mobile.
Million.
Yeah.
A month.
That's crazy. That's crazy. 420 on mobile, Zillow, 420 a month, million. Okay, so let's take a look at tactical. So excuse my writing because I'm not left-handed. So let's take April. This sucks, hold on. Let's take April, May, and June. Would you mind getting the, there's one on the front desk, something. Okay, so let's take April, May, and June. Let's take a 3-month period of time. And I think it's a great period of time. Days are getting longer, sun's out, more people are kind of more engaged, people are more mobile, you know, coming out during the days, whatever. So let's say we're gonna choose open houses, and I'm gonna make this very, very simple. 1 open house a week. Right, I don't think that's enough. Okay, but we're gonna make this really simple because I need you guys to buy what I'm selling here, okay? Okay, so let's say April, May, June, I'm gonna do 1 open house, 1 quality open house a weekend. I'm gonna do all the things I need to do, which we'll talk about, and get set up and put some energy and effort into it. And I'm gonna do 1 a week. So how many hours am I at an open house? Don't say 2. Do not say 2. Do not say 2. Okay, so I'm doing an open house. I'm gonna do 4-hour open house. Okay, if I'm gonna show up. If I'm gonna show up, I might as well make it count. If I'm gonna promote it and invite and market around it, I might as well make it a count. 2 hours is weenie. It's just, it doesn't make sense, okay? So I'm gonna say 4. So I'm doing 4 open houses a month. Which again, I'm gonna emphasize is not enough in this market. Certainly, that's not called offense in your program, or it's not called showing your pipeline. So if I'm doing 4 open houses a month, okay, so reasonably, if I'm marketing, if I'm promoting it, inviting, doing all the things I need to do, which we haven't talked about quite yet. How many people are showing up to my open house on average? How many people are open house? 6. 6? Anybody had 30?
I have maybe one.
Okay, anybody have 10? Have 12, 15? Okay, think about it. Okay, let's do 6. Okay, now, I'm gonna tell you 6 is not, and I'm not talking about you. If 6 people are showing up to my open house, I'm not doing my job. It's on me. It's not the market. 100%. Okay, you gotta get that mindset. So even if it's 6, let's say 6 people are showing up to open house. So what's 4 times 6? 24? Okay, so 24. So I'm meeting 24 people face to face a month by doing 1 open house, 4 hours a week. Okay, that's good. So that equals, I've met 72 people. Now, if I meet 24 people at open house and I'm reasonably competent, reasonably presenting myself, conveying great information, have value, presenting value to them. They like me, I like them. How many out of that 24 are people that will work with me either now or very shortly, are in the market to buy a home either now or in the near future, next 30, 45 days? How many are coming out of that, out of 24? Think of a number, doesn't matter. 2 out of 24? 3 out of 24? 24. 4? Okay, I'm reasonably competent, engaging, whatever. Let's go 4. I mean, it could be much more than that, but let's go 4. I want to keep it in. So, okay. So out of the 24, I'm meeting 4 people that want to work with me and connect. I know you haven't been in long, that long. So that's 12 people. So 12 potential buyers or potential transactions, because these people stepped into my environment, want to work with me, say, yeah, let's do this, let's move forward, help us out, this kind of thing. So I've met 12 people. So I've got a potential of 12 transactions. Now, what happens here is, now out of the 24, I realize there's a lot of people walking their dog and homeless people want to use the bathroom and all that kind of stuff. So there's 20 people left over. Okay. So there's 20 people that I didn't engage enough with at that point in time, weren't ready to move forward with me. Okay, get under my influence. So there's 20 people. Now, what if I nurtured those contacts and connected with them? And because remember, some people are ready to buy in 6 days, some people 6 months, some people 6 weeks. I really don't know. So, I'm meeting people that might not buy for 6 months because they have a lease, or the job transfer, they're having a kid or whatever. So everybody's got a little different timeline. So my ability to align myself with their timeline and nurture the relationship over that period of time. Do you think out of that 20, I can get a couple more people at some point in time down the road? Yeah, of course. How many? I don't really care. 2, 3, 2. Okay, 2. This is really easy. Okay, so that's another 6. So we're talking about the potential of a 4-hour open house, 1 day a week, 3 days, 3 months, consistently. I have the potential of 18 transactions, or 18 people that fit my box, the kind of people that I want to work with, that want to work with me, that we have connection with. and we can move forward. I have 18 people. Now, here's the deal. So out of these, there's still 18 people left that didn't do anything or whatever. Out of that, how many will never buy, but would be interested, maybe their neighbors or whatever, would interested to know what's going on in the neighborhood, how the sale of this home affects the value of their home, wouldn't mind getting an occasional update on equity, wouldn't mind, you signing them up for market insights so they can know what's going on in their neighborhood and will never buy from you, but could go into your database. How many of those 18? Make up a number, 6. Okay? So here's the deal. This very simple example that I gave you can produce a potential of 12 transactions over 3 months. And I think there's nobody in this room that wouldn't want 12 transactions over the next 3 months. I would. 6 down the road in the future, that's a total of 18 transactions over the course of however long, okay? Plus, what's 18 and 18? 36? Plus adding 36 people in my database. So just that one activity, if I engage and do the right things, I have 18 transaction potential and I'm putting 36 people in my database. Now, what would happen if I put 36 people in my database over the course of a year? If I did that every quarter? Okay, whatever 4 times 36 is, but whatever, I don't do the math, but we have a potential of putting 100 or more people into my database. So those of us who get in the business and don't have the database that we need, and we need to start building that foundation, which is the number one source of, I'll give you guys a figure, which is the number one source of business for real estate agents, okay? We need to start building that foundation. So not only are we building business for today, we're building long-term security. So at the end, it's 144, but I'll just do 100 because 144 is too aggressive. So if I put 100 people in my database and I started my database with 55 people this year, and a year from now I have 155 people, what's my business look like 2, 3, 4 years down the road if I keep compounding it? So understand the measurables of it. So we talked about the philosophy of it. Now we're talking about the tactical and the why. If I do this, I get this. Okay, so understand these numbers, but also understand the constraints to growth. Okay, what I mean by constraints to growth is how I F it up. I don't have the time. I'm not putting in the time. That's a constraint. Okay, maybe I'm not converting. I'm not getting 4 people out of 24. Maybe I need to work on my skill set. I don't have the discipline to do it. I'm very sporadic. Okay, I just don't, I don't understand this. How does it all fit in? I don't understand the strategy. What's my, it's not working. And where we get into trouble is, here's where we get definitely into trouble. So we're talking about open house a week, right? Got it? So what happens is you get all excited. You have an open house this week, you have an open house next week. Oh my God, I got a buyer. I got 2 buyers. I got somebody that, wants me to do a CMA on their house. So it's like, I got to shut everything down because now I got a buyer. So the next week I don't do an open house. The next week after, it's like, oh shoot, I was so busy. I had a showing. I forgot to get an open house. I really, it takes some time to source it. I didn't get it. Next week, they meet with Eric over here. Eric says, you got to do an open house. So, okay, back on open house. Then this happens. Then my kid got sick here. And over here, it's like, I forgot. So what happens is we lose what's called the accumulation effect. It's momentum. If you're not building momentum in everything that you do in this business, how do you expect the result to change? The problem is the reason results don't change in our business the way we want to is not, to me, it's not skill as much as we're just not compounding. Sales is a layering effect. Okay, it's compounding, it's momentum in everything that we do. And we have to keep that momentum going. We break momentum, we're brand new again. We're starting from scratch. And so this formula does not work at all if I'm sporadic, I'm not consistent at it. And being the number one business development activity that I can engage in my business today to change the trajectory of my business, I better freaking start paying attention to getting some momentum and some consistency and maybe even doubling down. What would happen if I did 1.5 open houses? Meaning, what happens if I did a Saturday open house, but I did Friday twilight open house? because the days are longer and the weather is better and people drive to areas. What would happen if I add another half open house, occasionally on a twilight? Can I meet 3 or 4 or 5 people? Sure, it's online. Everyone's looking online. I posted it, I boosted it, I put signs out, called up invited some neighbors or whatever. I can meet 4 or 5 extra people every month, or excuse me, every time I do a twilight open house. So add that to your numbers, add that to the result, and everything just gets compounded more and more and more. So it's kind of like breaking out of the box and not worrying about what everybody else is doing, because the standard is pretty low in terms of, what people are doing. And the model, isn't always there for us to emulate. We just have to figure it out for ourselves. So you got to focus on what's the end result you want to accomplish, and then understand what gets in the way. And what gets in the way is usually one of these things: discipline, time, skills, relevance, sources of revenue, mindset, strategy. Those are some of the things that get in the way. You guys following? Right. Statistic is an old statistic, and I bet it's still true, even maybe more. 60% of buyers work with the first agent that they meet. 80% of the buyers work with one of the first 2 that they meet. Not necessarily physically meet, but they encounter one who made an impact on them. Okay, they don't work with a lot of different agents. The reason they work with different agents is because they haven't found the right agent. You see, when they find the right agent, they only work with one agent. So we have to understand that, and we have to make sure that, we're positioning ourselves in that way. So let's talk about more tactical. And here's some things that are very obvious that I'm going to say to you guys, but they need to be said. Just a reminder. How to make it more successful in open house. Okay, preparation is the key. Now remember, the goal of the open house is it's all about lead generation. It's all about engagement. It's all about lead generation. So I have to do what I would call present my open house I have to be smart about my open house. Okay. And what that means is, and I know this is somewhat, elementary, but is it better for me to sit a new listing or listing that's been on the market for 3 weeks, 4 weeks?
New listing.
Of course. And why is that? It's fresh. People are online every day looking for new inventory. New listings will always get more engagement. We'll always get more eyeballs. We'll always get more traffic. We'll always get more reception from the neighbors, the buyers, everybody. Okay. So anywhere, anytime that I can, I'm looking for a new listing to sit open. And that would be my emphasis. Okay. Price range. Why is price range important? Well, we kind of talked about that, before, whereas it's got to fit your criteria, your box. But price range is also important in my mind because I want to understand the market. Where are the most sales happening? What price point are the most sales happening? What price point are the most buyers out there? What price point has the most affordability? What price point has the most inventory? Right? And so I want to stay within the belly of the market because I want to expose myself to as many people as possible. I can sit a 20-acre piece on the foothills of Mount Rainier, and it might be this great house for $2+ million, but I'm not going to find anybody. I'd rather sit a home that's going to generate me more quality, which means I have to get more quantity. So I'm going to dabble in the price ranges that are going to bring me more opportunity. Okay. Location. Why is location important? Kind of the same reason. I don't want to be the one-off way out there. I want to be where there's a lot of synergy of sales, open houses, new construction, signs. So where everybody kind of congregates. You ever notice why McDonald's is across the street from Burger King, which is across the street from Wendy's? In essence, you're going like, why did they do that? Because when people are thinking about food, they know where to go. Okay, I'll go to that corner and make a choice. Same with real estate. If I'm looking for real estate, I'm going to go to those neighborhoods, those areas that attract the most amount of people. Okay, you guys all get that. Of course, the condition of the property is extremely important. Okay, because it's a reflection on you. If the property is in poor condition, if it's unheated, if it has odor, if it needs work or whatever, then the client comes in and they kind of associate you with the kind of property that you're sitting open. Okay, and then you got 1 foot in the hole. You've got to start, digging it out, and so you're kind of at a disadvantage. It's all about driving traffic. It's all about lead generation. So how many signs? How many signs do I need to put out?
Nine.
9. That's a good answer.
Yeah.
Signs are your best form of advertising, so you better put out a lot of signs, okay? BK says 9, I say 10, but 3 signs, 4 signs, not enough. No signs, no bueno, okay? You gotta be aggressive. I'm gonna sit there for 4 hours, let's do 4 hours, and I take the time to put out 5 or 6 extra signs, and it brings me 3 or 4 extra people that come in. Where? Right? Because then the formula starts working. See, get aggressive on signs, but I don't have signs. Borrow signs from the listing agent, borrow signs from somebody else and you'll lend them some others. Borrow signs from the office if the office has them. No excuse, because your job is to not just to show up, but your job is to obtain a certain result. And the only way I obtain a certain result out of that 4-hour open house is by me planning it and having an expectation of what I want to get out of it. And that'll determine the steps I take in setting it up, okay? So as many signs as possible. What days of the week? Rhetorical question. Could be any day. Could be any day. What are you waiting for? What hours? Could be 4, could be 6, it could be whatever, okay? You're the one that puts the constraints on. See, it's not anybody else. So again, it ain't about the market anymore, guys. It's about the choices and decisions and strategies I'm employing, okay? Got it. Did we give out this, right? You guys all have this open house checklist thing? Yeah, the green thing, okay. So let's do the open house, let's go through the open house checklist. So to kind of prepare us to have the best open house possible, okay? Now, my preparation for my open house starts on Monday. Open house is the biggest business development activity I have available to me in this business to jumpstart my career, my business, fill my pipeline, fill my funnel. I better start putting some attention to it and putting some energy to it as well. So let's take a look at this checklist, and you guys might have some additions to it, which would be cool. But your preparation starts Monday. Finding and sourcing your open house. I know it's not easy, okay, but I have to be more strategic at it, and I have to be more diligent at it. I need to start making buddies with the people in the office that take listings. I need to be online and see what listings are taken in my market area for my office or the Renton office in Renton for Kent North office or whatever. I need to find what homes came on the market that maybe are vacant. I need to look at homes that maybe are listed by agents from out of area. So if an agent from Green Lake lists a home in the Renton Highlands, they don't want to sit it open. I'm calling that agent to see if I can sit it open. I'm turning over every rock. We do have a Facebook group. Is that still active, the Facebook?
Yeah.
So we have a closed Facebook group between the 2 offices where people can post homes that they have that may be available in open houses. One caveat here, don't pick a dog, man. If that listing's been on for 60 days without a price reduction or anything, and that's on the open house Facebook page, take a pass, okay? New listing. So I'm gonna be very aggressive because if I'm gonna invest my time and energy, into that, I wanna make sure I'm getting the best possible result. So it's Facebook page.
Just the Facebook page.
Yeah,
Yeah, Amy invites.
Yeah.
Person into it.
okay. So so sourcing, I know it takes effort, but the result is much greater if you put the time in up front. Okay? Post it on the MLS, make sure everybody knows it's open in the MLS. So, Joe and Sally are on Zillow, on the lunch break or wherever, go, oh, look at new listing. Oh, it's gonna be held open on Friday afternoon or Saturday or tonight or whatever. So I want to get it posted on the MLS, and that obviously syndicates out. Tuesday, shoot a video. That's scary for some of us, I realize that, okay? Shoot a video, post an invitation on Facebook, Instagram, post on social media with your video, post it on the seller's page. Why would we post it on the seller's page?
They got friends.
They got friends, okay? And email that to your database as well. Why would you want to email it to your database? You have an open house over here in Auburn. Why would you want to email it to your database? Let them know you're still working. Let them know you're in action. you're successful, you're doing business, it's a reminder, it's one of the 36 touches. You know, it just puts you out there and it keeps your brand top of mind in front of them, okay? Now, as far as posting on Facebook, correct me if I'm wrong, there are tutorials on my desk on how to post some of these on Facebook, okay? So we have tutorials how to do that, otherwise staff can help you do it. You gotta learn how to do all this stuff, right? Otherwise you're a step behind. Wednesday, let's get out in the streets. Okay, can you pass these out, please? Yeah. Okay, Wednesday, knock doors and invite. And your question is, well, what do we say? My answer is, Eric's gonna pass that to verbiage. Hopefully we have enough. Yeah, thanks. Are we gonna have enough? We can get some copies made, but we'll read through it. Okay? Okay, so here's some sample verbiage. Feel free to chime in or change anything you want. But call or door knock with an invitation and a flyer. Now, when you door knock with an invitation, nobody will ever say no to you. They'll say thank you. Right? But if you door knock with nothing, you say you want to sell a house, you want to buy a house, you know, anybody who's thinking about them, go like, they won't even answer you. So invitation is the easiest way to door knock, and it's the easiest way to get some sort of acknowledgement. Okay? So hi, this is blank from John L. Scott Real Estate. I want to let you know that your neighbors, and you can use their name if you know it, are selling their home. Typically you do know it, are selling their home. This is a courtesy call to let you know there will be extra activity on the block. This is my direct cell number. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to call me anytime. You're also handing them an invitation to the open house, okay? I'm hoping to sell it this weekend, but if I don't, do you know of anyone else in the neighborhood thinking about selling? I do not ask, do you want to sell? Okay, that's just too direct and people kind of like, oh, you're trying to sell me something. Do you know of anyone else in the neighborhood thinking of selling? And then you can follow up if you want to say, how about you guys, if you had any thoughts about it? Okay, makes sense. We can do that pretty easily. Got it? Okay, so 48 hours, once it's gone under contract, you can go back, you want to go back and say, I notified you blank days ago to tell you your neighbor had listed their home for sale. Great news, it's already under contract and you're going to have a new neighbor soon. They may ask how much the home sold for, which is typical. And you can say, I can't tell you exactly what it sold for now, but I can tell you they accepted an offer higher than the listing price, a very strong price. I promise that I'll call you the day it closes and tell you how much it sold for. Okay, next contact. Now they know you, they're comfortable with you, they see you, they're more welcoming, they open up a little bit more, they're more engaging with you because now it's the third time you're seeing these people. We spoke about a month ago and I made a promise to you to let you know what your neighbor's home sold for. Your neighbor's home sold for blank. What do you think about that price? It now creates an updated value for your home or new value for the homes in your neighborhood. Would it be okay if I updated you from time to time on that? So it's just kind of an opening question. Would it be okay? Yeah, I guess, yeah, you can report back to us. Okay. Or if they like the price, you can go a little deeper. Do you think your home is worth that much? Would you consider selling your home if I could get you a similar price? If they think the price is low, at what price would you consider? If they go, oh, they sold it too low. I'd say, well, what price would you consider selling? Or is this your forever home? Or an alternative door knock is send them or give them an invitation to your open house. Offer to text them the neighborhood comparables prior to the open house, which gives you their contact information. Okay, is this doable, you guys? Nod your head, yes.
Do we do a seller, like we have a seller listing launch, we invite these guys ahead of time.
Damn, you're getting ahead of me, man. Come on, we're here till 12. Get there. I'm just kidding. Okay, let's go back to our checklist. Okay, so we were on Wednesday, so door knocking with an invitation. All right, and you can hit only so many houses. Thursday, build your display board. I'll get into this a little bit, but your display board are some of these examples that we have here. I'll get into that a little bit later. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. The kickoff weekend, which was Shamus was just bringing up. The kickoff weekend mailers should be in the houses by then. All right, I'll get to that in a second. And you might want to get some mortgage information if it's pertinent to that particular home. Maybe there's some financing incentives or whatever, sellers want to do whatever. So get some mortgage information or whatever. Okay. And then I think I have the wrong copy. It says boost ad. Yeah, and then boost the ad. Now boosting an ad, when you're boosting an ad for an open house, that's like 100 A boards. You're gonna get more traffic off boosting an open house ad once or twice than putting out 100 A boards, being facetious in one respect, but everybody's online. And so you wanna make sure you're not skipping steps because again, this is your business development activity that you're engaging in to make it count, okay? So Friday, preview 3 to 4 active listings, wanna know some activities. Remember I said 90% of the people don't buy the home that they're looking at? Probably more copies of that.
Yeah.
So 90% of the people don't buy the home that you're holding open. So I want to have some comparables so I can speak intelligently about what other options there are in the neighborhood, higher, lower, bigger, smaller, that type of thing, just to convey some competence. Okay, and then knock more doors with invitation, which would be the same verbiage of people that we hadn't knocked yet, okay, to invite them. Saturday, you want to boost the ad early. Everybody's online Saturday morning. Advertise your open house. Put out your open house sign early with toppers. Now, what are we talking about toppers? We'll talk about the kickoff event in a minute. So we have these toppers available in the offices. Special kickoff weekend. This is for your initial open house. For the first weekend, it's special kickoff weekend. I'll get into that in a second. And the early entry, well, this is the open house we conduct for just the neighbors prior to the public open house, which is a different type of open house and a different philosophy, okay? So we have these toppers in the office. In the office you can have, and they are reusable, and you can put those on your A boards. I want to get those A boards out early in the day and making sure, so people when they're driving back and forth from their homes in the morning hours, taking their kids to soccer or birthday parties.
Come in.
Pardon?
Quit early in the morning or something.
Yeah, 9 o'clock, 9:30, whatever, because I want to start at noon. If I'm doing this, I want to start at noon. So I want them out early because if I'm driving my kid to the soccer game, I'll make a mental note, oh, there's gonna be an open house later, I'll come back. Otherwise, I may not come back. I really want to see the house type of a thing. So make sure you're doing that. Now, let's talk about this kickoff weekend thing and the early entry for neighbors. This is extremely important, and this is your unique value. And this is something that you really want to make part of your listing presentation, your value, your proposition on your listing presentation as well. So the kickoff weekend and the early entry promotion is really a preview event on this new listing solely for the neighbors, for the neighborhood. Okay, so what happens is, my goal is, remember I said earlier, your open house doesn't just take place between 1 and 4, and that's just not the beginning and end of it. This is a technique or an avenue to leverage additional listing opportunities by creating and having conversations with the neighbors in an environment that's more conducive to that conversation, rather than have them walking in and out with the public and, not having the opportunity to connect with them, okay? So it's an open house specifically for the neighbors. This typically happens, okay, noon to 1. It can happen before the public open house. As a sideline, it could be a Friday evening, 6 to 7:30 neighborhood preview party as well, depending on how you want to promote it. So the idea is the neighbors come in and you have different data, different materials, different point of interest materials to present to the neighbors, which is geared towards them and maybe enrolling them in your influence, capturing contact information, building your database, looking for listing opportunities, getting your ear to the ground on what's going on in the neighborhood and all of that. So it's by invitation, because people don't like, some people are weird about snooping in their neighbor's home. I've always wanted to see what my neighbors did, but I'm kind of apprehensive about going in. This is like, hey, I'm inviting you to come over and snoop. In fact, we're gonna have an open house for all you guys. So you can come and see what your neighbors are doing and how we showcase the home and what's going on in the neighborhood. So the conversation you're gonna have with the neighbors coming in is all about what's going on locally, okay? It's all about real estate, values, what the market is doing, okay, what's done in that particular market. And we have some great material, trend graphics that can zero into their neighborhood, market insights that can zero into the neighborhood or their zip code or whatever. And we can present them some great data. So I put together what I would call a goodie bag for the neighbors. When I say goodie bag, it's not a bunch of stuff, but it's point of sale, it's materials that are pertinent to helping them understand what's going on in the neighborhood and present myself as the neighborhood expert. Okay, conveying competence, conveying knowledge, conveying professionalism, showing them how we prepare for an open house. I might have my listing launch sequence in there, you know, show them what we do to prepare a home for sale. You all know what that is. It's this sheet here. And also, so I'm putting together the goodie bag for them with all these materials. And the goal is to invite conversation. That's it, to invite conversation. What that does, it gives you what's called the first mover advantage. First mover advantage is what 2% is when you put 2% extra effort to get a 20% better return. The first mover advantage means you're the first point of contact for knowing about that house, talking to them about that house, the marketing of that house, engaging conversation. So they don't need to go to Zillow, they don't need to go to whomever or find out about it, you know, through the back door kind of a thing. You're proactively going to them and putting them into the environment, your environment. Okay, so what happens is that's what it's all about, and you're giving them some great information. If you don't do that, you've lost a golden opportunity, okay, to enroll the neighbors in your influence. You've lost a golden opportunity to get more opportunities out there for yourself. Okay, now as far as the early entry day program goes, online on John O. Scott My Desk, there's all kinds of, we call it a seller, part of the seller listing launch. There's information on seller listing launch. There's a checklist on how to prepare for it and what to bring. There's conceptual, in other words, why we do it and how that sets you apart from your competitors or people who are just kind of going through the motions showing up. Okay. We have marketing strategies for the seller listing launch on there. Some statistics. Okay. An email template. So it's all done for you. You just plug and play. The email template's already created with photos and all of that. Okay. And then there's some education that if you do lab number 8, it'll give you kind of how to do it, what to do, how to say, what to say. Okay. So we have a significant amount of materials, and this is one of the things that's going to set you apart from everybody else.
Would you put some of that stuff on the floor, the big board there? Like
Some of
that?
it. And I'll go through the big board. Yeah, I'll show you. Then, you know, you kind of make up your, decide what you want. I have a lot of extra stuff there that I'll show you. Okay. So getting back to the neighbor thing, the old mindset back when I was in the business is we didn't want the neighbors in open houses. They're just a bunch of nosy, busybodies. Century 21 years ago coined the phrase looky-loos, you know, that type of thing. They used to use that phrase. So we used to think that neighbors were nosy neighbors. Well, essentially, they're not nosy neighbors. Neighbors are curious clients. We have to see them differently. They're curious. That's where they show up. What are they curious about? Everything. The price, the home, the market, what's going on, how quickly it's going to sell, when their buyer is, all that type of stuff, how much more it's going to, how it affects the value of their home. It's all of that. So neighbors are curious clients, and I want to feed into that. And most neighbors will come in and they'll say, oh, BK, you know, we lived for 35 years. We raised our kids here. You know, my husband built a barn back there. We are never moving. We're never going anywhere. And they all say the same thing. They're going to have to drag me out in a pine box, you know, to get me out of this house. I say, great. I might say, great, I really respect that, can you tell me a little bit more about the neighborhood, which would help me, market the property, so you get in a conversation. Once you let them off the hook, okay, then they get more conversation. And then I ask them, I might say something like, I know you love the neighborhood, you grow your kids, grandkids, and have all these wonderful memories. Let me ask you a question. Would it be of value to you, or would it be okay if once this home sells, that I report it back to you? Would you like to know what it sold for? Would you like to know how quickly it sold? Would you like to know if it sold for more than what they're asking? Would you like to know something about your new neighbors, something about the new buyers? Everyone's gonna say, yeah, because everybody wants to know who the new buyers are. They're all looking, out the window, looking at the new buyers. So would it be a value, or would you like to know how the sale of this property creates a new value for yours, either up or down? And they're gonna go, yeah, I wouldn't mind that. Okay, now, what am I doing? I'm enrolling them into my database, my nurture, my book of business or whatever, and now I've got that neighbor. They may never sell, but you know what? They might know that landlord down the street is kicking his tenants out because they destroyed the property. And he's been a nuisance in the neighborhood, and we need to get that home sold. All of a sudden, my ear is to the ground because I'm connecting with the neighbors. So you see what I'm saying? You get your ear to the ground, and all of a sudden, other opportunities pop up. No, we're never gonna move, but my son-in-law, he's gonna be transferred up here from blah, blah, blah. They're gonna be looking for a house next year or the end of the year or something like that. Luck happens. The more you talk to people, the more conversations you have, conversation leads to what? Appointments. Appointments lead to what? Deals. Okay, so I want to make sure that I have that. So what do I want to have? How do I create that exclusivity at this neighborhood early entry event? What would I have in my goodie bag? What would I have to show them? Okay, I might have some refreshments. I'm not a big refreshment guy, and most of the time I would say no refreshment, but for the neighbors maybe. But I would have trend graphics. I would have Cloud CMA. We've got the Cloud CMA. I would have that put together, show them comparables. I might have the Market Ready program, stuff on the Market Ready program, show how we participate in helping them fix up their property and finance it for them. I might have a black box. I might have a personal brochure, which shows my unique value, to them. I might have a seller copy of the John O. Scott Seller Guide as an example. And, so if they're thinking about selling their home, no one anybody does, if they would like a copy, these are expensive. If they'd like a copy, guess what? All they need to do is get my app, and it's on the app. I can text them a copy of it. Am I correct? Okay. I can text them a copy. So if they would like to get a copy of the buyer seller guide, I can text them a copy of it. In fact, we have the buyer guide in Spanish, if that works for anybody here. So again, what am I doing? It reflects competence, and it creates a higher standard that sets me apart from the other agents, that are out there. And that's what I'm trying to do.
Jim, what do you think about the,
Yeah, go ahead.
they are printing postcards that have the
QR code.
Dial in there?
So here's a little kit here for the kickoff weekend. We've got it, I haven't opened it. We've got the invitation postcard that Bear can do. We've got a door hanger. We've got flyers. There is a QR code on it already. So we have a little kit here so if you want to, on a box right here, it's all there for you to help market and drive more traffic.
I think we ordered that today when you get it.
That's a question I can't answer. So it has, you've been invited, new listing, now it's under contract, so I'm door knocking the second time on my sheet, my verbiage sheet the second time. It's under contract. Once it's sold, I've got it just sold here. All done for you, man. Wainwright Homes Value, I can hand that to them, or thinking about selling, or I can just copy it and do my own thing on my own flyer. But it's all here, so it's plug and play. So those of you who aren't, if you're not don't want to invest the time in doing low productivity activities, right? You need to pawn them off on getting it done and having somebody do it for you, because the goal is you got to get it done one or the other. Okay, so your time becomes very, very valuable in regard to them. Okay? We got an answer for you.
Where do you get this board?
Yeah.
Try that wood.
I don't know, stationery store, Staples, something like that. I think. Okay, so back to this checklist. I want to say something. So again, and then on the left-hand column, I just put some things here. McKenna helped put this together, give her credit. Driving more traffic. I want to invite all my leads. Everybody that admitted an open house, I want to invite them to my open house. Whether it's the right open house or not, what does it do? Reminds them, brands me, puts my name in front of them, shows I'm active, shows I'm thinking about them. I haven't forgot about them, those type of things. It's a touch. Will they show up? Maybe not. Probably not. Maybe they will. Doesn't really matter. It's another opportunity to reach out and talk to a past lead. Inviting the neighbors, we talked about that. My database, I'm gonna invite everybody in my database. My friends, relatives, neighbors, past clients, all that to it, shows them in the business, working, keep my name in front of them, successful, all that. It's a touch, reach out, acknowledgement. I can geo-target and put promotion, geo-farm, okay? Any for sale by owners or expireds, I would invite. So anybody that I can reach out to and have a conversation with, my goal is I need critical mass, I want to generate traffic. Okay, you guys all agree? Yep. Right, so what I've done is I've just played the biggest Jedi mind trick on all of you guys. Okay? Because this ain't about open houses. This is called real estate. Okay, is real estate about marketing? Is real estate about talking to people? Is real estate about technology, social media, posting videos? Is real estate about engaging neighbors in your farm, targeting groups of people to connect with? Is real estate doing all of those things? What we do. Okay, we're just doing it. I'm just talking to you about the concept of open house, but this is what we do all day long. Okay, so call it what you want, but this is kind of what your job description is every freaking day in this business, is to do some of these things. We're just, you know, couching it into an open house scenario. So now open houses become a prospecting activity. Like I said up front, real estate's a prospecting or business development activity. Open houses are a prospecting activity. This is a model right here for everything that we do in real estate. So thank you for allowing me to do that. Any questions so far? We got about 15, 20 minutes. Okay. So we talked about setting it up, driving traffic and all that. Let's say we're in the house. A couple quick tips for some of you is, what does a house look like when somebody walks into it? What's the presentation? This is now the public. We talked about the neighbors. What's the presentation? But when somebody walks into the house, we want to make sure. Most buyers, when they walk into a house, know within the first 15 to 30 seconds whether they can live in that house or not, or will ever live in that house or not. Okay, it's just that. So we want this home as presentable as possible. When I walk into that house, I need to make sure, you need to make sure that all the lights are on. Now, today's a bright day, right? All the lights are still on. We want that house to be as bright as possible. We want all the shades to be open. On a cold day, cold homes don't sell. People are not comfortable. They're not going to linger around. We make sure they're well heated. On a hot day, we want to make sure they're well ventilated, right? We want to make sure you're not distracted. In other words, the materials and what you're doing at the open house are geared towards what we're talking about and making it a successful event, and anything else takes you away from that. In other words, when somebody walks in your open house, is your head buried in Minecraft or whatever the latest thing is? Are you too busy to look up because you're reading the best part of this novel or whatever? Are you distracted? I want to keep my head in the game. I want to make sure I understand what's, you know, I'm working on real estate type activities. You know, it's like, take an example of, you know, professional football game. Okay, you've got the offense and the defense. One's on the field, one's off the field, and then they switch every once in a while. But when one is off the field, when the defense is off the field, are they sitting on the bench ordering dinner, talking to their kids on, you know, are they looking at TikTok? Are they, you know, involved in something? No, their head's in the game because they know one turnover in the game is going to require them to get out in the field, back out on the field, and know exactly where they are in the game and what they need to do. See, it's the same thing with us. When somebody walks into your open house, you need to be ready. You need to be at your best. You can't be distracted. You see, you have to keep your train of thought in the moment, okay? So working on real estate activities, and I don't want to go too far on that tangent because we don't have time. But I just want to make a point that, that's everything. That's everything. Be prepared in how you come across, because that person, what are they doing? They're shopping for an agent, remember? And they're gonna make up their mind. They're gonna land with some agent. Does this agent appear like too busy for me? Do I feel like I'm intruding on their open house? Or are they welcoming and warm and, you know, can I feel comfortable around them? So make sure that you understand that and understand the emotions of sales, how that works. Let's talk about let's get over to here. Okay, so give me some ideas. What would we have in the home? What do you want to bring to the open house? Give me some ideas.
Air freshener.
Air freshener.
How about flowers?
How about flowers? I'd have to sell us with flowers and I wouldn't do it. Cost money. Cost money.
I like to,
But that's a good idea.
so that way people feel like they're walking into Nordstrom when they're getting a minimal picture turned on. So it's
Soft
more
neutral,
than
soft
tiny.
music. Soft neutral music, yeah. Well,
And paper.
pen and paper, always, yeah. What else? What else do I want to have? What do I want to have on the dining table? What do I have in the kitchen? What do I have in the living room? Pardon?
Flyers.
Like listing information, neighbor getting information, community information, maybe schools, restaurants, bars, everything that's nearby.
Amenities. Mhm. So, anything else?
This is.
I don't think people use business cards anymore. It's all, yeah. Yeah, I don't disagree or agree with some of this stuff. I mean, I agree with most of it. My job is that to create an environment, whereas I'm the main event. Okay, or whatever materials are there, or people kind of are engaging and need to engage with me, right? Or give me an opportunity to engage with them. In other words, I think Janelle, you said flyers. I wouldn't have flyers in the house. They're already in the house. The people are already in the house. So I'm gonna spend money on flyers that people are gonna take out of courtesy. Right? And then they're gonna, because they're either interested in the house or they're not. If they're interested in the house, I'll have the information. I might have my own flyer on it, but I'm not having flyers for them to take. You ever been to the home show? George, you go from booth to booth, and you stuff it in the bag and you leave, and then you go home and go like, why do I need, you know, I already have a hot tub, why do I need a flyer on a hot tub or a solar panel? It's a courtesy thing. So I want to make sure that I'm becoming the focal point in the open house the best I can. Right? So having said that, some books or classes or whatever, cookies, bake stuff in the oven, no way. No one's coming to your open house to eat. Everybody's a germaphobe these days. They don't want your cookies. They didn't come for your cookies. Don't bother with cookies. Okay, you don't need that. They're not gonna stay just because you gave them a cookie. And it's the wrong house. I mean, seriously. It does sound kind of weird. Okay, so I would nix the flyers, I would nix the cookies. I would nix all your mortgage reps want to put financial flyers together for you. That is the biggest buzzkill in any sale I could think of. Do not have financial flyers. No, get mortgage information for yourself. No, for yourself, so you know, okay?
Oh, not for them.
No. It's because if I'm a buyer, I mean, none of the mortgage information is good news. You know, if I have to come up with, you know, 10% down or 15 or 5% down, and it's tens of thousands of dollars, then there's tens of thousands of dollars on closing costs. Now I'm focused on, you know, money and not focusing on the house. Okay, financial flyers do not sell houses. You can keep those in your back pocket, you know, in your folder or whatever, but I wouldn't put those out. Like I say, it's never good news. It's always more than what somebody wants to pay, or it's always more money than somebody has. So let's get that out of the equation. And I know your lenders will want to do all that for you. Get one and just keep it so you'll know what you have. So let's take a look at some of the things that I might have there. Did you put this here?
Yeah,
Cool.
brought the newer
All
one.
right, so here's a couple samples of some boards. This, and I put a lot of extra stuff on here. You guys are welcome to come look at it later. But, you know, what I want to do is, you know, someone said, what happens when you get too many people? And you don't have the opportunity to engage with people? How do I slow them down? How do I cause people to want to stay and not walk in, pick up the flyer, pick up this, pick up that, and leave? And I have no way to engage. That's why I don't have anything out, nothing to hand out. Because then when I have more than one person in there, they're gonna sneak in, sneak out, I don't have no time to engage. So what I want to do is I want to have some point of sale type materials, okay, that will convey the information that they need that you were talking about. And that might help them stay around because they're interested in the materials that I have. So some of the materials that we have here are statistics, kind of messy because I threw a bunch of extra stuff on here. Are statistics about what's going on in the marketplace, history of real estate, what's going on, statistics of what's going on in the neighborhood, which is trend graphics here that we have. I might have something about, this is something that I put together many years ago. Do you know someone who's thinking about selling? So she always had that somewhere in the house as well, which shows all the homes that she sold in the area, which shows she's a player, you know, that type of thing. So she might have something like that there. But also amenities, here's school stores. We have all that information available to us, right? John Scott's got everything, all that information. Market insights, more localized for the particular neighborhood, so they know what's happening in the neighborhood. And I can do just what I'm doing now, say, you know, kind of give me an idea. They go, well, how's it working? I go, well, let me show you. Would you mind if I shared something with you? Right now, we've got that, or is now a good time to X, Y, and Z? I go, well, you know, the market's going in cycles here. I'm an educator. I'm conveying competence to these people. I'm standing out. I'm not sitting there like, hey, go take a look at the house, and if you have any questions, just a minute. Yeah, just let me know. I'm not that kind of guy. It doesn't take much to set yourself apart. So we have a lot of different materials here. Here's just something. One of the things I have here that I really like is 32 strategies to win more often in multiple win more often in multiple offers. Okay, you all know that. We have that. I do not give it out. It is permanently attached to the board. No one takes it. It's a sample. Okay. Because I want to maybe talk about our strategies around. And I know you're frustrated, you've been looking at home for a while, you missed out on a couple, and it's really, you know, there's not many available. You know, would it be okay if I shared some of the strategies I use to help my buyers win more often in a multiple offer environment? In fact, I have a 32-point strategy to help my buyers win more often in a multiple environment. Would it be worth 15 minutes of your time if I could sit down with you and share that with you? And maybe get to the finish line a little quicker. It's a good close. Would be worth 15 minutes of your time if I could sit down and share that with you. Okay, so again, if I have this, do not give this out. Okay, so it's stapled to the board. I have also this now available down payment assistance up to 5% of the purchase price or whatever down payment. That's what I'm saying. Get the mortgage information. I want to know what down payment assistance programs are. For some of these, it's a conversation starter, whether they ever take you up on it, need or whatever, it's a conversation starter, okay? So I have information on down payment assistance. Let's see if you're eligible today, the QR code, hit it, and it goes to you, and we can get them, figure out if they're eligible. Pardon?
What do you think?
Well, we put together, one of our brokers put it together. She also put together a Spanish, actually, and worked really well for a Hispanic couple.
I mean, did she get it on, did she just put together herself, or did she?
I had corporate put this together. She had corporate put this together. Okay, the winter trip promotion. Okay, we just had a winner last week. Somebody won. So we have the winter trip promotion. That's what, 3 times a year, 4 times a year. You get $4,000 to go anywhere you want. And it's a real deal. We publish the winner. We make a big deal about it, and people love it. So we can enroll them in a winter trip, and that's a way to elicit more conversation and elicit more information, you know, about the people. So you kind of take a look at some of this point of sale material. Would it cause somebody to kind of stick around a little bit more? That's what we want to do. We want to be sticky, but we don't want to give stuff. We just want to show stuff. Giving stuff gives them an out. Showing stuff causes them to hang around. So we definitely need to slow them down. Tommy Hopkins, when I first got into business, like in the late seventies, he worked in Phoenix. And he would give, people came to his open house, he'd give them a quart of ice cream. So after they left his open house, they'd have to go home because the ice cream would melt. That's how we got them to stick with them. So just a side note, that's how real estate was back in those days. We don't need to do that. All right, so we've got that, so we're talking about some of the point of sale materials. So they're already forming an impression of me because I'm different from all others. So now, let's get to, how do we start narrowing it down and get that connection? How do we get the close? How do we get the appointment? That type of thing. So let me ask you some questions. What are some of the questions we ask buyers when they come in the house? Don't be shy.
How long have you been
How long
looking?
for?
How long you been looking? What else?
Are you familiar with the community?
Familiar with the area?
You working?
What else? Price range, how many bedroom bath? You know. You're
What's causing you to
considering, pardon?
What's causing you to look?
Because you look, that's good. So what happens is, we're taught in class, and you'll see forms that have the 10 questions. How'd you find us today? How long you been looking? You know, how many bedrooms, how many baths, what price range, have you ever been qualified, you work with any of the realtors? You know, blah, 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 all those 10 questions. All right, I would ask none of those questions. I wouldn't ask any of those questions, because it's not important at that time. Okay, it's important once they decide to work with me, but they haven't decided to work with me yet, so why do I care about that? It doesn't matter. They've answered that question 15 times already to every other, I mean, I need to know it at some point in time, but that's not the engagement I want to have. That's not the level of engagement I want to have. The 20 question thing. It doesn't move the needle forward. It doesn't create, relationship or anything like that. And we're really jumping ahead. So once we decide to work together, it would make more sense for us to sit down and figure out exactly what they're looking for and exactly how I can best help them. Okay, make sense? So let's take a look at some other options in terms of what we can say and how we can narrow them down. You wanna? Colin, you wanna grab these for the back? Real right. One. I got some here. We're gonna be about 10 minutes long today.
Are we asking too many questions?
No, it's good. I'm good. It's you guys. Oh, you. Everybody have? Y'all good? Okay, so one of the things that I do, and there's no perfect technique, is obviously you want to make people feel comfortable when they come in. Warm greeting, introduce yourself. They may have some questions about the house at that point in time because we have no flyers. Or you may offer some things about the house. The house just came on the market. It's priced at X, Y, and Z. It's got X amount of square feet. It's on an extra large lot. What people like about it, it's got some extra parking if that's important to you. And of course, the school district is something that's very desirable. Feel free to take a look around. So I give these people a little bit of rope, okay? But if you don't mind, once you're done looking around, if you don't mind, can I ask you a couple questions? Or could I share a couple things with you? And being that I'm giving them a little bit of rope there, they'll go, yeah, that's no problem. So let me read through some of this. So after they walk through, I would say, would you mind if I shared a couple of things with you? And they'll go, sure, not a problem. I'll say, you know what? There's two reasons we hold open houses. One is to sell the home to you, but I sense this isn't the right home for you. Am I correct? And they go, yeah, you're probably right. It's not the right home for us. So I give them a pass right there. Okay. So I take it you've been looking for homes for a while. How many have you seen? So if they say it's not the right home for them, then I take it they've been looking for homes. How many have they seen? Might give you some information. Now, the second reason we hold open houses is to solicit feedback from educated buyers such as yourselves. So if you don't mind me asking, what did you not like about this house? And what are they gonna say? It's too big, it's too small, it's too expensive, it's too close to here, it's too far from there, it needs too much work, it's too outdated. Whatever, doesn't suit our needs. So what did you not like about this house? So tell me a little bit more about that. So what they're saying is it's too big. I say, well, so this is a 5-bedroom home, you're looking for what, more of a 3-bedroom home, from what I understand? Yeah, or whatever, location, we start pinning it down, so we just probe a little bit more, but they've kind of opened up and said it's not the right one. So I might say something like, well, if this home were perfect, what would it have? I go like, oh, it's perfect, it's just 50 grand too high in price. Okay, so I'm eliciting the information I need to without asking those standard 10 questions, okay? So what else did you not like? So I hear what you're saying is or if this home were perfect, what would it have? So let me ask you this, BK. So if I came across a home or became aware of one that is exactly that you just described to me, would you want to know about it?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so why wouldn't they? They just described the perfect home, but they describe what they're looking for in a home for me without having to ask the questions. So the best thing you can ask them, so if I came across a home or became aware of one that matched what you just described to me, would you like to hear about it? That's a softball question. It's not like, would you buy it for me? Do you promise to buy it for me? Can I show it to you, whatever, you want to sign something right now? No. Would you like to hear about it? They'll go, yes. Would you then want to see it? Well, that's a softball question. If they want to hear about it and it's the right home that they just described the perfect home to me, would you then want to see it? Well, of course, they're going to say yes. So the best method to contact you is, okay. And now what I'm doing is I'm getting their contact information, and they're most likely going to give me their email address because every other agent wants to email them houses. So they're going to give me their email address. So everybody look at me for a second. So you give me the email address and I'm going to write it down. And then without looking up, without taking my pen off of the paper, and I'll say, and the best number to get you at is, and they're going to give me their phone number 90% of the time. Not can I have your phone number? So they already give me the email address because that's natural. They're going to do that. They're used to that. I don't even look at them and I have my pen on the paper and I say, and the best number to get you at is, it's really awkward to say, no, you can't have it. 90% of the time they will. And trust me, I've told this to many of you guys and it's worked many times. So now I've got contact information. Do I have a guest book? Well, I don't have a guest book. It takes that away from me, and they're going to put in, all the wrong stuff or whatever. And what are they signing anyway? Why are they signing? Am I signing them up for a gym membership or something? Yeah, they don't know. I mean, they're going to get a bunch of spam from me. So I don't have a guest register. It's all me. I'll have a yellow tablet. I'll have a legal tablet or something to take notes when I'm talking to somebody. That shows professionalism. But no guest registers, guys. You don't need it. Okay. And the best number to reach you at is, let me ask you a question. When are you generally available to look at homes? So should one come up, you want to know about it, when would you be available to look at it? The good ones go quickly in this market, as you probably are aware of. And I know your time is valuable and I wouldn't want to waste it. Are you also available to look during the week if the right home came up? And they'll go like, well, if it's the right home, we take a look at it. I said, I've got some homes in mind for you to see, but I'll need to check on availability. See, what I do is I respect people. I always say, I know your time is valuable. I don't want to waste it. Okay. I've got some homes in mind for you to see, but I need to check availability. Let's set aside potentially Tuesday to go look, but I'll confirm their status with you prior to that. Okay, because the good ones go quickly. I might have a home in mind. I saw some comps. They might be sold by now. They might be pending already, but I'll check. But let's set aside some time on Tuesday. So I have a tentative appointment with these people already. Make sense? Does that work?
Yeah.
It works. Not, can I have an appointment? Can I send you listings? There's no value proposition there. You have no value to that. That's why they never call you back. That's why they give you a phony number. The best closing verbiage you can use in sales is, if I would you. If I blank, would you? If I could save you $20,000, would you be open to having a conversation about that. If I found the exact home you just described to me and it was available to look at tomorrow morning, would you be available to look at it? If I, would you? That's the consummate sales phrase you need to learn. Or else I could say, if there was a significant price reduction on this home, would you want to know about it? Okay. And then one of the most important questions is, tell me about the home you live in now. That's gonna tell you a lot. We don't have it. Our lease is up. It's too small. We're pregnant. It's too big. We're moving down. It needs too much work. The landlord kicks out, whatever. It's gonna tell me a lot about, so I wanna find out what their current living condition is to put perspective to all this as well. Let's go to the next page. Some additional verbiage to kind of get people to lean in. Okay, you don't use all of them, but just some ideas I threw out. Additional verbiage. Would you like me to notify you when rates go below 6%? I text that to everybody I'm working with and all the leads I have right now. Just text it today. Would you like me to notify you when rates go below 6%? A lot of people, like you were saying earlier, BK, are researching. Okay, they're waiting. What are they waiting for? Rates to go below. Okay. If I could share with you a proven 32-point strategy that has helped my buyers win in today's market, would it be worth 15 minutes of your time? That's my sample up here I put on the board. Would it be worth 15 minutes of your time? Yeah. What's the buyer's mentality today? They're stressed. They can't find a home. There's no listings. They found one. They got outbid. Okay. Well, we've got a strategy. Okay. So if I can share with you a 32-point strategy to help my buyers win in today's market, it'd be worth 15 minutes of your time. Are you aware of the limited down payment assistance program offering buyers up to $50,000? Would you like more information on how to qualify for that? That might be good for first-time buyers. Now you got to check with your lenders, different down payment assistance program, some up to $50,000 in Seattle, but some up to $20,000 in other areas. So it's geographically determined. So it's good to have that as part of your conversation. Now, the down payment assistance loan is not just for your total down payment. You can add to the down payment you already have to qualify you for a 20% down payment, which would eliminate your mortgage insurance. So you can add it to the down payment that you have as well. Would you be interested in hearing about homes with a starting interest rate of 4%? Now, if people are a little sketchy about or worried about interest rates or concerned interest rates, would you be interested in hearing about homes with a starting rate before around 4%? What is that? Starting rate, get it? Starting rate, a buy down? Okay, so that means they still want to buy, they're interested, they're a little frustrated because of interest rates, they're a little worried about affordability. Well, would you be interested? It's a way to get people in influence, bringing up conversation that other people are not bringing up, okay? Getting them to lean in. If my mortgage team could save you $10,000 to $20,000 over the life of your loan, would it be worth 15 minutes of your time to meet with them? Would you be interested in knowing about homes that were for sale, but not on the market? See, people don't know what the term off-market home means. They don't know what off-market listings mean. They mean homes that are for sale, but are not on the active market. You almost have to say it that way. Would you be interested in knowing about homes that were for sale, but not on the market? These are ways to get people to lean in, to say, yes, get a hold of me. Yes, I want to work with you. Yes, let's connect. Yes, please follow up with me. Okay. How can I best earn your business? Ask for business. In sales, sometimes you got to ask for business. Easy way to say it. How can I best earn your business? But you have to demonstrate before you earn the right to ask for it, right? Make sure you're doing that. Okay, here's a follow-up. And I told you we don't follow up now, right? Okay, so if you were to follow, and here's, I want to get to that. So I said we don't follow up. So why do I say we never follow up with the client? Because we followed up, what would you say? Somebody tell me. If I followed up with somebody 2 days after open house, what would I say? Okay, besides that.
They're like, it was nice to meet you. If you're still looking, I know some other.
Okay, perfect. So my point is, why don't I say that when I'm in front of the people already? Let's look at more property.
Sometimes you do both.
No, I'm just saying, is anything you would say to follow up with a client after an open house? Why aren't you saying it with the client at the open house when you're face to face and you have that momentum, that rapport. Colin?
So are we not defining, I have some homes in mind and I want to follow up with you on Tuesday. Is that not a follow-up?
Where is that?
It's on the script first page.
Is that it?
I have
Oh, yeah.
some homes in mind to see, but I want to check availability.
Well, no, I'm already setting the appointment. See, I'm already setting the appointment.
Okay.
Okay, that's to set the appointment already. You see, I'm not following up, I'm just confirming.
Okay.
We already have the appointment set. They say, yeah, we'll meet Tuesday, 4 o'clock in your office. I say, okay, great. I know your time's valuable, don't want to waste it. Let me just make sure the homes are still available. I already have homes in mind for them. Okay, so my point is, anything you would say to somebody to follow up, say when they're in front of you, otherwise you've lost that chain. Okay, now they're in another open house, seeing somebody else, or could be, they don't remember you or anything like that. I want to lock it down. The goal of the open house is get an appointment.
What did you say? I didn't hear what you
Well, I'm following up because I might have some other homes that you might want to look at, something like that, which is what we would say. But the goal of the open house is to nail the appointment right there, nail the commitment right there. Because if we don't, if we let them walk out the door, the chances are it gets slimmer and slimmer. They won't return the call. So either I'm nailing the appointment or the tentative appointment for Tuesday. There. And if I'm gonna follow up with other houses, maybe on my checklist, I previewed some other houses that I can talk to them about, and they may not be the perfect houses. I've got 2 other houses in mind. One has a 3-car garage, one doesn't, but they're in the price point in the area that you wanted. Let me follow up, make sure they're still available, and we'll meet Tuesday, and we'll put them up for it, whatever. Okay, so again, I'm just putting them under my influence. Okay, now, if we had to follow up with somebody. Okay, hi, this is Jim from John L. Scott. You don't remember me, but I met you at an open house a few weeks ago, and I was wondering, remember on my list here, I said, if we follow up with those 20 that we didn't connect with before, and we just use some verbiage, maybe we'd get another 2 out of each one of those 20, which would give us another 6 deals over 3 months. Okay, you don't remember me, but I bet you I met you at an open house a few weeks ago, and I was wondering, did you ever do anything? It's an easy question. If they did, congratulations. Reason I'm calling is, I just saw a house that has X, Y, and Z, and I recall that was something that you said was important to you. Would you like to hear more about it? When can I open it up for you? Or I'm available Saturday morning to open it up. Can you meet me there? So I'm just kind of rekindling, I'm just going through my old leads, because when I first met them, they were a little apprehensive, they weren't ready. Now they've been looking, they've gone to more open houses, they're more excited about buying a house and getting into a new house. So now I've got them at a different level of motivation, and I'm catching them right at the right time. Remember, some people are 6 days, 6 weeks, 6 months. I can use this kind of verbiage on them. Okay, or I'm not sure if it's for you, but there's a new listing hitting the market a few streets away. You have time to look at it tomorrow. Okay, so some of these things are just opening statements to get people to kind of, right? Okay, we're winding down. I got just 2 more things to share with you guys. Wait, did we answer all the questions that we talked about in the morning? Conversion, million. When you like the bars is slowing them down, or sit in open house with your lender. Okay, lender could act as the host and slow people down while you're talking to people if they're registry. We talk about registry. I say no registries. Work with another broker already. Okay, there's 2 questions not to ask. 2 questions not to ask at an open house. 2 questions not to ask at an open house. Are you working with an agent? Don't ever ask that question. If they're working with an agent, where's their agent? They're working with an agent, what's their agent doing for them? Sending them listings? We don't send listings, okay? So don't even get that, because once they met me and they experience me and what I do, how I do, and what my conversation is all about, they're gonna forget their agent's name real quick. Now, if their agent is loyal, I mean, if they're loyal to their agent, it's their mother or somebody sold them a home, and they bring it up, they say, hey, by the way, I'm working with, Jen over at Remax. I'll go like, oh, that's great. If they bring it up, but I don't invite it. Because most people will forget the name of their agents when they experience me. Okay? The other one is, have you been pre-approved? by a lender? I don't ask that question. It's not important. It's not important until we decide we're gonna work together, and then we'll dig in and do the things we need. That's why I don't ask the 10 questions. I don't ask you to be even pre-approved, because all of a sudden, we're making a judgment call, and I'm like, oh, you haven't been pre-approved. Well, to work with me, you need to be pre-approved. You need to be with my lender. My lender said, you're worthy of working with me, I'll work with you, and if you have the capability to buy, you know, a home in this price range, we'll do it. Otherwise, I don't want to waste my time if you're not pre-approved. That's what you're telling these people. It's not the right time. You see, there's a different time to do that. When we meet on Tuesday, we'll talk about pre-approval. We'll have my lender at that meeting when we get together on Tuesday, or on the phone or on Zoom, and we'll get them pre-approved. And you know what? They don't pre-approve for 800, they're still a $700,000 buyer. I haven't lost the buyer. You're gonna alienate people when you put conditions in the way.
How
Like-
much money do you have in bank?
Like if you were, yeah, like if you're putting working with another realtor or not pre-approved, you're putting conditions of this at the wrong time. We're good, we'll get it figured out, but I have to get this person wanting to work with me and develop a working relationship. They run the buyer seller database, right? Okay. Lastly, I want to give you an analogy. Of how this all comes together. Okay, so like I said before a couple of times, I don't ask people how many bedrooms, how many baths, how many square footage. It's not important at that time. But what I want to find out is, why are you here? Why are you here? And what I mean by that is, at one point in time, this is where they live, right here, okay? And this is a timeline. Okay, and so what happens is, where they live is called your home. And this is time. So at one point in time, where they chose to live was perfect for them. They might be in a 1-bedroom condo downtown Seattle. They might be in a 6-bedroom, 6,000 square foot home, whatever. They might be renting or whatever. So whatever it is, at that moment in time, that home that they chose to live in was the perfect scenario for them, or what they're willing to accept. But now, over time, their situation has changed. She's pregnant. He got a raise. They need more space. He's working for a home. They're working from home. They need an office. Whatever the situation changed. And so over time, people's situation changes, but where they're living doesn't. And so what happens is, at some point in time, their living situation becomes, it's not satisfactory to them anymore. And as time goes on, it becomes less and less satisfactory for them. Okay, once they have a kid, et cetera, et cetera. So what happens is, the distance between this line and this line is called their level of dissatisfaction. And they get to a certain point of dissatisfaction, whereas now they have to start looking for a house. So all I have to ask people is, why are you here? Or tell me about the house you live in. And they're gonna tell me everything of what the problem is they're trying to solve, or what their level of dissatisfaction. So if their life was so perfect, they wouldn't be here. So something is causing, so what's causing them to come out and start looking is really what we need to discover. So it's really about their story and finding their problem that I can solve. And when I approach it that way, it's just a lot more humanistic. And their level of dissatisfaction has to be greater than their present situation. Otherwise, they're never gonna move. It's like getting the client that says, well, we'd love to buy a house, this, that, whatever, but you know what? If we don't find one, we've got a couple of years till we retire. We're good where we're at too. That's not a level of dissatisfaction. I can't work with people like that. I'm gonna go all over the county looking for the perfect house. I go like, nah, I think we'll just stay where we're at. Not so bad after all. That's just a waste of your time. So again, I have to find that level of dissatisfaction before I can actually help these people. Okay. I think we're about good. So one more thing I want to say. Anybody have any questions? Okay, you guys are beat. Okay. This book here, exactly what to say in real estate. This is the best $12, $15, whatever you can say. This is everything you need to jumpstart your dialogue, your scripts, your verbiage, your technique or whatever. It's simple to read. You can open up any page and it's got big print and you can read 2 pages and put it down and open up any other 2 pages. Gives you the phraseology and the psychology and how to use it in real estate situation. Exactly what to say in real estate. It's amazing. Then, when you go to page 179, it's got a chart here that for every situation and every objection handler you can think of that are they're really quality objection handlers. So even if I go to open houses and someone says, I'm already working with an agent, I don't want to pay a commission. I just want to know how much my home is worth. I'm not looking to sell right now. I don't think a real estate agent will be contacting me. The market's going up. Why shouldn't I wait to sell? Zillow says my home is worth that. Everything is in here. Okay. This is like the Bible of what you need. And then it has a section on marketing. So if you're doing online marketing, phraseology, email subject line, that gets people to open your email. It's amazing. And it's very, very simplistic and it's not way over your head. This is the book you all have to get. Exactly what to say in real estate. Okay? So that's all we got today. If there's any other questions, let me know. I home, right? Yeah. All right. Thank you, Jim. Right. Right. He doesn't shoot.
Take care of the errands first. Yeah.
I want to open this book. I mean, this thing in the back, everybody needs it. Everybody needs this handbook. And you do. They would buy it. You guys need any one-on-one help with any of that stuff? Get a hold of me anytime. All good. Really good. Thank you for coming, man. I'm surprised.